Hey you guys, it's Jocy. Today I'm here to make 6 items from a new MiniVerse from Scratch 2 series. The first item I'm going to be making is the baguettes. And to make this item, we were given a mini baguette pan. We were also given this cute mason jar that is filled with this bread starter. So we're going to go ahead and open up our bread starter and take our little brush and brush some of that inside of our mini baguette pan. You want to make sure that you use a generous amount of that bread starter to coat the inside of each of those baguette molds. I think I was being a little bit too conservative with the amount that I use. So if I were to do these again, I'm definitely going to be using more of the bread starter. Once we finish completely coating each of those baguette molds, we're going to take some of this bread crust mix and pour some into each of those molds. Next, we're going to place the plastic cover back on our mini baguette pan and then just shake it around, turn it upside down, just so that we can fully coat each of those molds. We're doing this so that when our baguettes are done, they'll have more texture. Next, we're going to go ahead and work on the baguette dough. It's more like batter, but we'll just call it dough. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and pour the rest of that bread starter into our mixing bowl, and we're going to go ahead and try to get as much of that bread starter out of the mason jar. For our baguettes, we were also given a box of classic instant bread mix, and in the box is this little packet, which we're going to go ahead and empty all of its contents into our mixing bowl. For our dough, we're also given this cute little container of flour. We're going to need to empty out all of its contents into our mixing bowl, but it has a little opening and I was having a hard time getting it out. So I decided just to pop off that little top there, and I just used scissors to take it off. And once I do that, I can pour all of the flour into the bowl easily. Next, we're going to go ahead and mix up all of our ingredients. This is so fun. It feels like I'm really baking, but you just want to mix up all the ingredients until they're combined, but you don't want to take too long because it will start setting up and you'll have a hard time pouring the dough into the pans. Next, we're going to go ahead and evenly distribute that dough between the 3 baguette pans. I want to make sure we don't overfill these because they do rise a little bit. Once I'm done filling the pans with dough, I'm going to tamp it down a little bit just to get rid of any possible air pockets or air bubbles. And once I've done that, we're going to go ahead and top each of those baguette doughs with more of that bread crust mix, just so that we get texture all over the bread. Here is how the baguettes look so far. So we're going to go ahead and let this air dry for about 40 minutes. And after the 40 minutes, here is how it looks. As you can see, they rose a little bit. And now we can go ahead and unmold them. So I'm just taking the spatula to loosen them up, and then we're going to go ahead and pop them out. And here is how the first baguette turned out. As you can see on the side, I didn't use a lot of bread starter earlier, so some of the crust mix didn't stick. but the last one turned out much better. And here is how our three baguettes turned out. I think it looks really good. I'm super proud of how they turned out. And I thought this knife was just decorative, but looking at the directions, I was so surprised that we could actually cut the bread. I think that is so freaking cool. So yeah, super fun. And here is the slice of bread. And here's the final product. So fun. The next item we're going to be making is a prosciutto pizza. And I don't know about you guys, but I've made a ton of MiniVerse pizzas, but this one is extra fun to make. To start off, we were given a bag of starter pizza dough and traditional pizza dough. So we're just going to take half of each and then combine them. Once our pizza dough is fully combined, we're going to go ahead and add some cornmeal to it. We're going to go ahead and add this cornmeal just to give it more texture so it could be more realistic. So I'm just adding a little bit. I wasn't sure on how much to add, but I'm just going to start off with a little bit and then add more later. I probably should have added even more of that cornmeal just to give it even more texture, but I can do that again next time because I do have leftover dough. We weren't given a rolling pin to make the pizza crust. We're just going to go ahead and shape the whole thing using our fingers. So I'm just flattening out the dough and using the guide on the little mat to make a circular shape. And then once I get the size I want, I'm just going to push the center of the pizza dough and then trying to make a little crust on the edge. Once we're happy with our pizza crust, we're going to go ahead and let it air dry for 20 minutes. And during that time, we're going to go ahead and prep some of our ingredients, namely our prosciutto. So we're given this package of prosciutto, and I'm just going to go ahead and use one of those slices and then cut it up with our scissors. Here's what our pizza crust looks like after 20 minutes. It is fully dry. So now we can get to the fun part, which is assembling our pizza. For our prosciutto pizza, we're given this tube of pizza sauce. So we're just going to go ahead and add a bunch to our crust. And if you didn't add enough, you can always add more later. But they didn't give us any utensils to spread out our sauce, so I'm just going to use a toothpick and just spread it all over. I am going to add more sauce later because I didn't add enough. Then after that, we can go ahead and add on our other toppings. We're going to start off by adding our previously prepped prosciutto pieces to our pizza. And then we're also given a container of goat cheese. The directions say just to grab little chunks of it and add it to the pizza, which I did. And then after that, we are given a container of, I'm assuming is arugula because that goes good with prosciutto. But we're going to go ahead and place some on top of our pizza. And then after that, we're going to let everything air dry for 30 minutes. And then our prosciutto pizza is all done. So I think it's turned out pretty good. And this was super fun to make. The next item we're going to be making is the Mini Bear Choco Pancakes. And to make our pancakes, we're given this bottle of milk choco mix. We're just going to add some to our little measuring cup. We were also given a bottle of pourable pancake mix, and we're going to add some to our measuring cup as well. Next, we're just going to mix both of those up until they are fully combined. And once we've mixed it up, this is what the pancake batter looks like. And now our pancakes are ready to be made. Here is our cute little bear skillet. So we're just going to pour a little bit of that batter into each of those molds. Once we've filled up our molds, I'm just going to tamp it down to get rid of any air bubbles. And after that, we're going to let it air dry for 30 minutes before plating them up. So here they are after 30 minutes. The directions say to take them out with a fork, but I had trouble doing that. So I just ended up using my fingers to take them out. The bear faces on these little pancakes are so stinking cute. For the last one, I had a little bit of extra, so I just cut it off and then the pancake looked perfect. So once we've plated up our pancakes, here's what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of maple syrup onto those pancakes. I didn't want to add too much because I didn't want to cover up the faces, so I'm just going to put a little drizzle on there. And we also get some sliced bananas and sliced strawberries to garnish our plate as well. After garnishing the plate how we want, we're going to let it air dry for 30 minutes, and then our mini bear choco pancakes are all done. So I think these turned out really cute. The next item we're going to be making is the carbonara, and this is the item I wanted to make the most. So for this item, we were given this large pasta mat. To make our pasta, we were given a bag of pasta dough blend and classic pasta mix. So we're going to go ahead and just take half of each of those and combine them. Once our pasta dough is fully combined, we're going to split it into two. Then using our fingers, we're going to roll them into log shapes. Next, we're going to use our little rolling pin to roll them out into a rectangular shape. We're just going to try to use the guide on the mat as best as we can. After we've gotten our pasta dough to our desired thickness, we're going to go ahead and sprinkle each of those with a little bit of flour. Check out this cute little flour shaker. So once we put some flour on, we're going to spread it on there with our finger. So we can do the next part, which is my favorite. We got this little pasta cutting tool here, and we are going to cut our pasta. After we've cut our pasta, we're going to go ahead and separate all the pasta pieces. Making this pasta was actually so fun. I've always wanted to try making pasta for real, but I guess this will have to do in the meantime. But yeah, so fun. Next, we're going to go ahead and arrange our pasta into our bowl, and you can do it however you want. I'm just laying them in there and just placing them where I see fit. But yeah, super fun, and I think it looks so good already. But we still have to make our sauce for our carbonara. So to do that, we need to prep some ingredients first. We got this package of bacon, or I know some people use pancetta in their carbonara, but this looks like bacon to me. So we're just gonna cut them into little pieces. So here is all my bacon pieces. Next, we're gonna actually work on the sauce. So for that, we're gonna use our measuring cup, and we also got a tube of carbonara sauce. So I was a little concerned because this is super thick and it was hard to measure out, but I just tried my best to get the right amount. To add to our carbonara sauce, we got this super cute single egg carton container, which contains this cute little egg. Oh my gosh, so cute. So we're gonna go ahead and crack it open. No, you don't need to do that. I just thought it'd be fun. And I thought it was gonna be a liquid egg, but it was a solid egg. So I'm not sure if I got a bad batch or that's how it's supposed to be. But anyway, I went ahead and mixed up those two ingredients until they were fully combined. And at this point, I was getting concerned because it was setting and turning into really thick sauce. I don't know what happened with the sauce. I mixed it for not even 5 seconds and it was just super thick. I had a hard time putting it on the pasta, and I kind of got sad because it covered up all my beautiful pasta that I made. But what tied the addition together and made it look better was the little pieces of bacon. So here is how it turned out. In the end, I think it still turned out good. But yeah, here is my carbonara pasta. The next item we're going to be making is the Blackberry tiered cake, and I was really excited to make this item as well. To make this cake, we were given this cute yellow mixing bowl, and we were also given this box of Blackberry cake mix. We're going to pour in the entire bag of cake mix into our mixing bowl, and then we're going to add our canola oil to our mixing bowl as well. We're going to go ahead and mix up our canola oil and our cake mix just until it is fully combined. We want to make sure we work quickly because this stuff sets up fast. To make the two tiers of our cake, we were given this mini 2-piece round cake pan set, and we're just going to distribute the cake batter between the two pans. And just from the time it took me to get the pans out, the cake batter already started to set, so it's much thicker than earlier. But we're going to go ahead and fill them up, but not too much because remember, these do tend to rise. And after I've added the cake batter, I'm going to go ahead and tamp them down just to get rid of any air bubbles or air pockets that are in the mold. These cakes do require about an hour and 30 minutes to dry, but when they are dry, this is how it looks. I really love the color of these cakes. It's kind of sad that we're going to have to cover it up, but they are really pretty. Here is a cake stand that we got for our tiered cake, and usually I don't like to do the decorating on the cake stand, but I think for this cake, it's best if you do. But to decorate our cake, we were given this tube of Blackberry drip icing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a lot on there. Since this drip icing dries quickly, I wanted to have a lot on there initially. But once we have some on there, we're going to go ahead and try to smooth it out with our little spatula. Um, I have to say, I had a really hard time icing this cake. It just started to start setting on me quickly. So, yeah, right here it looks pretty good, but as I went, it just looked like a hot mess. Oh my gosh, I was having the hardest time with this cake, and I just kept on adding more drip icing, trying to fix it. In the end, I think it turned out okay. I would like to be able to attempt this cake again and see if I can make it look better. But yeah, hot mess. To decorate our cake, we got this package of flowers. They are so pretty, and I was crossing my fingers hoping that they could salvage my ugly cake. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and snip some of those flowers off in the leaves and then just add them wherever we want on the cake. And I think it looks okay. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry for 30 minutes. And then once we do, we can take it off the cake stand. Just make sure when you're taking it off the cake stand, you're doing it very carefully. You don't want to end up ripping any of that icing off the cake. So in the directions, they just say to trim off any of the excess, and I have a bunch of it. So I'm just trimming it off with some scissors, and I think this helps a lot. So here with the cake stand, I got a lot of the drip icing on there, but once it's dry, it's easily to be clean. You just have to wipe it off, and then it is all clean. So now we can go ahead and put our little doily on our cake stand and then add our cake. And then our blackberry tiered cake is all done. In the end, I think it turned out okay. I think the icing smoothed out a lot while it was drying. But yeah, not my best work, but in the end, it's still okay. I would like another attempt at making this, but I really love the color combination of this cake. The last item we're going to be making in this video is the chocolate cheesecake. And to make this cheesecake, we're given this cute little mini springform cake pan. I think this is the cutest. So to make the cheesecake, we're going to start off by pouring some of this choco cookie crumbs into the bottom of the springform pan. And I'm just tapping it down just to get an even layer. I probably should have used a little bit more just to get a thicker crust. Next, we're going to work on making the cheesecake. And to do that, we got a container of cheesecake filling. We're going to pour the entire contents of that container into our mixing bowl. We were also given some dark chocolate, I'm assuming it's sauce, and then we're going to put all of it into our mixing bowl as well. Next, we're just going to thoroughly combine both of those. And after it's mixed up well, we're going to pour all of that into our springform pan. We'll need to let our cheesecake sit and dry for 40 minutes. And after the 40 minutes is up, this is how it looks. So unlike a real springform, for this one, we're just going to take the bottom off and then push the cheesecake out. I'm just going to go ahead and go slowly just to make sure I don't mess it up. But after I've gotten it out, this is how it looks. So I have a little bit of extra hanging off, so we're just going to go ahead and cut around the crust and cut a little bit off the top as well. Here is the pretty cake stand that we got for our chocolate cheesecake. We also got a doily. And then once we add on the cheesecake, we can add the drip icing to the top of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a bunch. And then we can add our final garnish, which is these chocolate curls. So I'm just going to go ahead and place a few on top before piling a bunch in the center. Finally, we're going to let it dry for another 30 minutes, and after that, our chocolate cheesecake is all done. I think this looks really yummy. Here are all 6 items I made in this video from the new MiniVerse from Scratch 2 series. I honestly enjoyed making all of these, especially the savory items. Those were the most fun to me. Even with the pizza that we've made a gazillion of times, this one was different because we actually got to make the crust of the pizza, so that was really fun. I really enjoyed making the pasta, making the pasta dough, rolling it out, cutting it. All that was super fun. And I know that I had trouble with some of the items, but in the end, I think they still turned out okay. But I really can't wait to make the other 6 items I have from this series. There is the tiger cake, the other bread rolls. What else is there? Oh, the ravioli. I cannot wait to make those raviolis. But anyway, leave in the comments down below what you think of this series and what has been your favorite so far. Okay, guys, other than that, thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.